Let me show you my countryside through these old headlights. We can take this road as far as you want to go. I'll show you how a country mile can take us all night. Feeling higher than a bull's tail up an old dirt road. I ain't gonna run or hide. We can let the fire burn wild. That's just my countryside.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are here at Lowe's, and I figured while I was here I would show you exactly what I got started with when I began to garden 10 years ago. These supplies can be found in the seasonal section before you go to the outdoor area. This is the tray that I got started with 10 years ago. Hey y'all, so I am here at Lowe's within the seed section here. It's kind of in the corner before you get to the outdoor landscaping area. And I wanted to show you guys, this is actually what I got started with when I was first gardening. So I had never gardened before in my life, and I was scared to take the leap. Didn't know what I needed, but saw these at my local hardware store and I picked it up. I planted my seeds in there and literally all of them sprouted. They all germinated. So sometimes you can get kind of hung up on what to get, what to try, what to go with. Just grab one of these and start. So within this are these different expanding peat pellets that you basically just add water to, and then they rise and expand. And then within each of those little holes there, you would plant your seeds. And this is exactly what I used to get started with cucumbers. I got started with peppers and tomatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this and I'll show you guys how you plant within these little greenhouse kits. Hey guys, so you just saw me in the Lowe's hardware store, and I had picked up one of these small trays. So I didn't get the huge one. It's like $17 just to give you a gauge on price. For the purpose of showing you how to utilize one of these, I did pick up a small, this is a 12 peat pellet. They're smaller. So if you are going to do this for like flowers and things like that would be fine. But if you're going to do like tomatoes and peppers, that kind of thing, you're definitely going to want the bigger pellets within the container. These ones are like probably 2 inches diameter. You're going to want the ones that are a little bit bigger, more like a 4-inch diameter. So but just for the purpose of showing you, I did pick up this small little tray. This one's like $5. And then they have like a medium one, and then they have like the bigger one. So it just depends on how many you're growing. That would help you decide on which one to get. So you can go small, you can go larger. It's completely up to you. If you're not sure if you even want to garden, maybe start with the smaller, you know, the medium sized one with the bigger pods, especially for the tomatoes and peppers. I am going to go ahead and we will open this up, and I'm not gonna do the tomatoes in here, which I need to do soil blocking for. But I have my little list here that tells me everything I need to do. So if you are unfamiliar with Seedtime, you can go through. I did a video on that. But this comes from that, and it just gives me a breakdown every single week of the year on when to be sowing seeds based on my plan and my layout that I created, when to be harvesting, cultivating, all of that. So direct seeding, transplanting, all of it. So anyhow, if you missed that video, go watch that one. I wouldn't say that the new gardener is going to find the value in that. If you're a new gardener, you don't need to be concerned with the Seedtime thing at all. You're going to want to know your start date, you know, for each different category of plants. And that's going to be determined by your zone that you're in. So check that out. I'll do a whole other video on that, but that's going to really determine, you know, what you're going to be planting and when. And then you just need to figure out what you're going to plant. And that's based on what you're going to actually eat. Like, what are you going to consume? Because you can have a whole bunch of peppers, but if you're not going to eat that many peppers, then what's the point in growing that specific pepper? Or maybe it's a spicy pepper. Like my mom has a plant, and if you're watching, you know, she got a plant and it's a habanero pepper. Well, that thing was producing like hundreds of habanero peppers, which is, you know, good. But if she's not going to eat them all, then what's the purpose of getting a habanero pepper versus maybe like a snacker pepper or a bell pepper? So anyways, I'm going to go through and show you how to get one of these started. I just took out the outer cardboard here, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and pour some water in here, and then I'll show you how to plant seeds as well. Okay, so I want to get you down here on my counter here. This is the small thing with the peat pellets in there, and then you're just going to pour some water in there, and then you're going to kind of wait for the water to absorb. And I'll show you real fast. This is what it looks like. Okay, so they're just these little discs. And as they drink up this water, they will actually begin to expand. Okay, so I will tell you that when I was at Lowe's, they also had heat mats and they also had grow lights. So if you're new to gardening and you're starting seeds indoors, which is, you know, where right now because it's cold outside, especially for tomatoes and peppers, you do not want them outside. So you're going to have to put them inside, which means that they're going to need a heat mat because they germinate with warmer weather. So you're going to kind of replicate that. So you're going to have a heat mat, and then you're going to need a grow light because it's not going to have enough light. And if it is sunny within the room that you're in, they're going to get really long and leggy, which weakens the plant over time, and it could definitely damage it and may not produce very well. So you're going to want a grow light and a heat mat if you're doing things like tomatoes and peppers. And the heat mats and the grow lights that they have there are going to be just for like one seed tray worth. I don't even know. You're going to have to measure because the really long greenhouse trays that I showed you, I'm not sure if those lights there are going to be long enough. So you'd have to measure that and look at it. But if you did say like the shorter trays, I know that they would for sure be, the grow lights would definitely be big enough for those like smaller, like the medium, and then the tray that we're doing today. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you're starting things like tomatoes and peppers indoors right now, it's, you know, the end of February, and it's still chilly outside, you don't want to start them and then just throw them outside, or just keep them outside. You're definitely going to want to put a heat mat underneath of them. And some people even do like the top of their refrigerator. They'll put the seeds up there. As far as the light, really wouldn't go with that. Now, when I started, I did tomatoes and peppers, and I put the little plastic lid on top. Granted, it was bigger than this one, but I put the plastic lid on top, and then I had it outside in the sun in Arizona. Granted, it's warmer in Arizona than it is here in North Carolina, just a little bit. But I didn't start them until probably, I want to say more like April or May even. Probably April is, I think, when I started it. So yeah. So you're definitely going to want to, if you're going to do that, you want to wait until later in the year, not at the end of February in a colder climate. So these are starting to kind of puff up here. I'm going to kind of show you what it's looking like, and then we'll get the seeds planted. Okay, so you can see that they're kind of starting to rise just a little bit. I could probably put some more water in here. Just kind of cover them up there, and they'll soak up all that water. All right, y'all, so they have risen and they look like this. These are those little seed pellets, and I'll get you up here and show you. Okay, so they've all perked up. They're all swelled up with water. They're nice and soft, kind of squishy, and they're full of peat moss that's within those, each cell. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plant these teddy bear sunflowers. For the sake of doing this video, I'll put them in this little tray here. Normally I would just either direct seed these, or I would use my bigger trays. But again, for the sake of the video, I'm going to use these little guys. So I have this little tool. You can use anything. You can use the end of I usually use like the end of a pen or a marker. And you're gonna wanna look at your seed depth. So on the back of the packet, it says seed depth is 1 inch. Okay, so we're gonna go down 1 inch into the soil, and we're gonna poke each hole here. Okay. Just gonna go through, I kind of pre-do them so I don't have to poke and then stuff. And sometimes, like this one had the layer kind of over top of that hole, you're gonna kind of peel it back a little bit so it's not covering that hole up. And this one too. Okay, so you're gonna take your little seed and you're gonna drop it in the hole here. And you can use this for any type of seeds that you're wanting to plant here. That one didn't drop down in there. I'm gonna push it down in there. And then this one's gonna go. We're just gonna get these loaded up. Okay, so I'm gonna put the rest of these back in here. And then we're gonna kind of go through and cover up each one of those holes, and you can kind of squish. You can kind of patch it back in, and if you just kind of like shimmy it a little bit, kind of applying a little bit of pressure and getting things kind of loosened up in there, it'll basically just cover it back up. So like this one, I can see it down in there. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of recover the soil back over that hole and kind of shift things around a little bit, and it'll just recover that soil, that seed. Okay, so if this is all that you wanted to plant, do that. Okay, so if you say it's just you and your husband, okay, you don't have any kids, and you just want like a small little garden, you have a raised bed off the ground that you want to put some plants in, okay, or even just some like little grow bags that you can put a pepper plant in each one. You can find those on Amazon. They're black little round grow bags. You can definitely put them in there. They're portable, you can move them. It's not anything permanent. Say the only thing that you wanted to grow is cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes, and you're a family of 2. You only want to grow, say, 4 tomatoes. You can do 4 peppers, maybe 1 bell pepper, 1 spicy, and then 2 snacker peppers. And then say you wanted to do cucumbers. You wanted a pickling cucumber, and you wanted a slicer, a muncher cucumber, and maybe some snacker cucumbers. You can definitely just grab this little thing of 12 pellets from the hardware store and just start with that. Get some grow bags, put some soil in them, and call it a day. Okay, so don't overthink it. It's not difficult. This isn't hard. It's just something that you have to kind of navigate through and ask questions, be willing to be new. But yeah, this is definitely a great option. This is what I started with when I started gardening. Granted, it was a bigger tray. I probably grew way too many cucumbers, but this is a really good option for people that are just starting out. I think sometimes as we advance, we kind of get out of like, oh, we don't want to use plastic because plastic's terrible. For a lot of people, it's a great option. Okay, so once you have this, I usually will go through and just put just a tiny bit more water so that I can see some water just on that bottom level. Not too much, just something that's going to go inside the bottom of these little trays here, the little cutouts at the bottom. That way it doesn't dry out. And you're just going to want to make sure that these stay moist, okay? Not sopping wet, just moist to the touch. You can feel the moisture on there. They're not dry. That's all that you want. You don't want them sitting in a bunch of water, okay? So then, if you say you didn't have a grow light and you don't have a heat mat, okay, but you have a pretty sunny kitchen, you can put them on top of your fridge with the cover. That kind of keeps the moisture in too, and some of that heat, especially if the sun's hitting it, it kind of creates like a greenhouse. And then they will germinate just like this, okay? This is definitely a great option. Okay, so like I mentioned, if you don't have a sunny location or a warm location, then you're gonna want to put these, especially for peppers, tomatoes, and even cucumbers. Not as picky with the cucumbers, but definitely the tomatoes and peppers. Then you're gonna wanna get one of those grow lights that goes above like that and a heat mat, okay? Connect those to an outlet, and you're just gonna put this right underneath of it on top of that heat mat, under that light, and you're gonna wait for them to germinate. And then after your last frost, check your frost date for your area, your location, and then at that point you can put these out. And you will have great little starter plants for the beginner gardener. And that's gonna do it for today's video, helping the beginner gardener getting some seeds sown in one of the easiest ways of getting started, the way that I got started. It is definitely something that is perfect for somebody that's just starting out. So don't overthink it. Grab the trays, grab the seeds that you know that you're gonna eat, what you want to produce, and just plant the seeds. So I hope that this helps you. Hit the like, pound the subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, chickies.
Things I have something.
Oh. What are you? I don't have anything for you.
You have something in your hand.
I have nothing. Get away from me, bro.
I'm not gonna attack you. You just do that because he follows you with just in your hand.
What? I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing.
Heck, I'm so wrong.
Countryside, through these old headlights, we can take this